Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series America Premier League round of 16. We just finished our first match. We've got another awesome Protoss versus Zerg coming up. I'm Nathanius. With me is Todd. Todd, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. You know, we started the day with a great ZVZ. Both of these players played excellent. In the end, Hyun was just too much for Revival, and now we're going to have NesTea, the creator of the universe himself, against Alicia, who had a great performance in the last season. I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm sure I will learn a ton of things, because Alicia against Zerg always delivers.
Yeah, these are kind of cool styles, right? Alicia is one of those players that we've seen time and time again. Or calling his match in the round of 32, he got to play versus a couple of Zerg players, and you know, he's busted out some aggressive builds in his series. I believe was versus Hendralisk, and he also played some solid 3-base styles against his opponent Tudming, I believe, was also in that group. So
I feel like Alicia is still very underrated. Do you agree?
Yeah, he's a very good player. I think, you know, we look at his past history, we always knew he was good, but he didn't quite have that success just yet. However, I also really like our underdog in this matchup.
Yeah, you know, Alicia, he's that guy again, just kind of like yesterday with Oz, who took a lot of second places. A lot of people were making jokes, oh, he's the new Kong and all that. I thought he was bound to win a tournament, never quite made it. And I really feel like every tournament he enters, he always has a good chance to go far. Sometimes, and a lot of the time actually, he fails in the last few rounds. Is that time going to be his time? You know, he's 25th right now in the WCS World Rankings. If he was to win that tournament, he will break into the top 16, which is what you need to qualify for the global finals at the end of the year. So it's all I wish for him. But being up against the creator of the universe himself here, NesTea, who's been playing quite excellent. You said yourself you saw some of his games at MLG. It's going to be tough.
That's right. It's time to hear from the players, though. We've got Clutch up on the main stage. Clutch, let's see what these players have to say.
Thank you, gentlemen. To my left is a player that many that are fans of StarCraft 2 know his name. He is the creator of the universe, the third highest earning player in the history of StarCraft 2, NesTea. And to my right, a gentleman that has participated in multiple WCS tournaments and many tournaments around the world. Last season, he was top 4. Please give a warm welcome to Alicia. Gentlemen, congratulations on making it to the round of 16. NesTea, this is the farthest you've ever made it in WCS America, the round of 16. You've had tough matches to try to excel. A lot of people continually believe in you. A lot of people continually support you because of your championships in the past. Do you have any words for your opponent, Alicia, before we start?
네, 많은 팬들의 기대에 부응하셔서 이제 16강에 입성하시게 되셨는데 이제 전에 이제 전성기 때 하셨던 성적을 바라고 있는 팬들에게 그리고 한마디 그리고 이제 경기 시작 전에 양주시 선수에게 또 한마디 해주십시오.
일단 뭐 팬분들이 예전에 전성기 때를 원하시는데 저도 그렇게 하기 위해 되게 열심히 노력은 하고 있거든요. 근데 조금 더 노력하면은 전성기까지는 모르겠는데 그래도 지금보다는 훨씬 더 잘할 수 있을 거라 생각하고 조금만 더 기다려주시면 좋은 모습 보여줄 수 있을 것 같고요. 준식이가 한마디 하고 싶은 게 사기 종족을 하니까 좀 부끄러운 줄 알았으면 좋겠어요.
First of all, to all my fans that's been cheering me non-stop since my previous successes in professional gaming career, I myself want to get back into that shape and do it. Saw that aging and everything that's making things a bit difficult. One last thing I would say to Alicia is you should be ashamed to play Protoss Imba.
Alicia, the only Protoss player in this group. You know it, we know it, NesTea knows it. You've never made first place in a championship game, but second place, top 4, multiple times. Any words for NesTea before we start?
이번 조에 유일하게 항상 준우승 4강, 8강 이렇게 하시면서 정작 우승을 못 하셨는데 그거에 대한 이제 생각 한마디와 그리고 시작 전에 임재덕 선수에게 이제 한 말씀 해주십시오.
아, 우승을 위해 좀 더 노력해야 될 것 같아요. 조금 코앞까지만 가서 자꾸 떨어져서 정말 많이 아쉬웠는데 한 번 더 기회를 만들었으면 좋겠고 프로토스가 자꾸 사기라고 하는데 저는 사기라고 생각하지 않고요. 그냥 사기니까 그렇게 제가 먼저 올라갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
So I always felt short from winning a tournament. I wish that this becomes the opportunity. I practiced really hard, and also like NesTea said, he said Protoss Imba. Then as Imba as my race is, I'll step him up and go through the round of 8.
All right, gentlemen, if you'll please shake hands. Good luck and have fun. Next up is the Mappitos. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Clutch, and some nice fighting words thrown there. You know, Todd, I think there's something that we could all take, and I think especially you to heart.
Should I be ashamed to play Protoss?
Maybe. This should be a cool match either way. These two players have some really cool styles that I feel make things a bit interesting. You know, I wonder if we're gonna have before we, as the map veto's process prepares, if we're gonna have habitation station in the pool. There was a really crazy game against Hero that he played at MLG Anaheim where he took Hero's gold base first with a hatchery.
Of course he did.
And then Hero had to cannon himself to get the hatchery out. And then he took his own gold base and then his original. He built like 4 hatcheries before he actually had any units out on the map.
Sounds good. Sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy game.
NesTea, you know, there's nobody quite like him. He's 31 years old, I believe. When I look it up. Yes, he's 31. He was born in 1982. At that age, I feel like there is nobody even close to his skill. In StarCraft, maybe in any game. Maybe in any sports.
He's had an incredible amount of success. 3-time GSL champion. You know, he's not with a team anymore. Played a lot for Incredible Miracle. He's now managed by the GEM esport agency, helping him get to these events, helping to support him as he continues on with his esports career. But he does play a really fun style. And he's been in WCS America. He's been playing pretty well. And this is his chance to go a little bit further than just the round of 16, though.
Yeah, you know what I meant is that basically he's the eldest pro gamer that we have on StarCraft 2. And it makes it interesting for me because I'm one of the older ones too. And I kind of would like to have that title. But I do think that not only NesTea is older than me, he's also much better than me at StarCraft. And, you know, he plays a very impressive style too. He likes to go up to 3 bases very quickly. He hatch first a lot. He likes the muta transitions from time to time, but he knows how to change and switch back to some Roach Hydra styles, sometimes Zergling. In some of his previous games in the group stage against Crank, he used some Zergling Hydra style to hold a big 2-base pressure. It's funny because he played Crank twice. He lost the first time, then he won the second time. So he's already got some experience against one of those Axiom Protosses. And now he's facing Alicia, who's, I guess he doesn't have too much of a similar style to Crank, but there are some similarities in what they do with the third and natural base and the way they mix up their builds.
Yeah, and Alicia, we've known he's a good player for a very long time. He's been playing for quite a while, but, you know, we also take into account that he hasn't had that big tournament victory. He hasn't had that big fireworks success that he's been looking for a long time. And as good as we know the Axiom guys are, they're a very close bunch. They help each other out a lot. Maybe he's been getting some pointers from Crank from this matchup. Who knows? It's going to be a difficult series either way for both of these players because it's such an unnatural matchup when you look at like 2 potential Protosses and Zerg players you could get that would play a very standard style. But I think we're just about ready to get to see the map veto process too, and I'm really curious to see where these guys want to go.
The first 2 maps vetoed are always Alterzim and Waystation, almost every single time usually. In the previous match, even in the ZVZ, that's what happens. But I feel like as a Protoss here, you will have to veto Waystation almost every single time. There are a few Protosses that don't seem to mind it too much, but generally speaking, yes, against a player like NesTea, if you have to face Mutas, there we go.
Yeah.
And Merry-Go-Round, I wouldn't be surprised to see go, but yesterday we saw Pick Baby not veto it, and then when he played it, he was like, you know what, it's hard to take a third, then I'm not going to take a third, I'm just going to do an Immortal Push and kill you. And Alterzim's vetoed by NesTea here, interesting.
Those
I
map
was-
veto picks, Yon. You're good at this.
But there we go. Merry-go-round. He doesn't want an immortal push.
I think these are some of the most heavily vetoed maps, I'd say, in all of WCS. Maybe not so much merry-go-round, which
King
pops
Sejong?
up in a lot of these other maps, but yeah, King Sejong, I'd say, is a good veto. Frost Habitation. The only thing is, maybe you don't want to play against
Ooh.
NesTea's that guy.
He's that guy.
He vetoed Frost. It's
Unbelievable.
happened. I think this is the first time in the round of 16. I guess it's only the second.
Nobody
group,
can say
but-
anything to him because he's the creator of the universe after
Yeah.
all. He knows better than us. I guess it makes sense.
We can't fathom why he would make such a choice because he's on such a higher level than us.
Frost right now in ZVP against a Protoss that plays a safe style, takes a third base and then does the pressure is very difficult. He did win on that map the second time that he played Crank on it, but it was a very difficult and hard-earned win. So maybe he's not comfortable. So Overgrowth, King Sejong Station and then Habitation. Pretty interesting maps here. Habitation Station, the big question mark, as you said, is going to be do we see a gold base being taken early on?
You know what? He also played a map on Overgrowth in one of the series that he played. Was it in the round of 32? I think we were looking at some of these games beforehand.
Yes.
He's not a stranger to taking his own gold base really early
Yeah.
on and trying to do some of those really crazy aggressive pushes. So I think having the two maps with gold bases available really opens up the playbook for NesTea as far as builds that he can go for. And Alicia, he needs to be extra aware of what he's up against in the series.
I think in that series that you're talking about, he actually drone scouted. He went hatch first. NesTea almost always goes hatch first, or at least in his two series that he played against. And then he just went for the gold because of that. Because when you're up against the Nexus first, you can play significantly greedier than otherwise. And Alicia here, being aware that NesTea played so much with hatch first, could mix up some cannons in. I didn't talk too much about what Alicia might do because they could hear us at the time, and also I feel like it's difficult right now to be able to anticipate what the Protoss is going to do. Almost every single top Protoss understands the importance of being able to mix it up. If you play one single build every game, you're going to get hard countered big time, and you're going to lose. So I think we might see a good mix of Forge expands here and there, and some Gateway expands sometimes.
Yeah, you make a good point. I think bringing out the Forge builds, especially, really nice way to keep your opponent honest. And we got a nice little smirk at the camera from Alicia. No peace sign though. Not quite as adventurous as Hyun or Revival.
Is that a peace sign that he did?
The two fingers,
Yeah.
yeah. Just a lighthearted chuckle from Alicia so far. But with the first map being Overgrowth, there are still a lot of options. This is a map where we've seen actually a lot of Forge openings, and NesTea, we know that he's capable of doing a lot of different strategies. We know that he's one of the smarter players. He's old, he's wise, and in StarCraft, there are advantages that you can pull if you're able to get the mental edge over your opponent in a series like this.
NesTea right now looks like he's warming up his hands a little bit with a hot pack. Very popular thing amongst pro players. It's very important to have your hands as warm as possible. You never want to play with cold hands. You're always going to play worse if that's the case. Have you experienced that? Well, you live here. It's pretty warm here, but then again, the AC. Sometimes.
Pennsylvania gets really cold sometimes. Man, trying to play StarCraft when it's like 0 degrees outside,
Yeah.
that makes life
I
pretty
guess playing
difficult.
Terran helps.
Yeah. Well,
Kidding. Kappa.
well, you need to do so much that your hands just stay warm all the time. So it's not even a problem, Todd. It's not even a problem. We've just about got the lobby set up. I guess NesTea's finishing up his final preparations as we get into this. This first game of our second match.
Here on Overgrowth, I feel like there's a good chance NesTea might go for a quick scout with a drone, a hatch first, and then from there see what he's up against. If he sees a quick Forge, he's just going to pull drones to make sure he doesn't get cannoned. If he sees a Gateway or some kind of Nexus first, he could go for the gold base.
Yeah, I think that's a very realistic possibility. You want to be aware when you're a hatch firsting player whether or not there is that aggression coming up, because it gives you, having that heads up is just always so nice to be able to prepare in situations like this. But we're counting down into the first map of our second series today. And Overgrowth it is. I always love seeing Zerg players do crazy builds. Maybe it's because I'm a Terran. I like to see the crazy builds in other matchups, but I would be object to seeing some gold-based shenanigans. We are loaded in now on Overgrowth, and as you guys can see, our first player in the southwest position, the blue Zerg, who's won 3 GSLs. He is known as the creator of the universe. It is NesTea. And his opponent in the Northeast, the red Protoss player, representing Axiom. His teammate made it out. Can he join him? It is Alicia.
Axiom players have been performing really well in WCS America. You know, you can tell it's very important to them. They practice really hard specifically for those matches. I feel like there's still too many players that practice exclusively ladder, whereas when you're in a tournament like this, you need to practice a lot more custom games to really make sure you prepare for the specific matchups that you're gonna be playing in. And NesTea, he does go for the drone scout here, so
I gotta give you your first props. You called it. NesTea, drone scouting, it's a great way to be safe. He's gonna see this gateway.
Yeah, do you think he goes first?
I think if you see this gateway, I feel like you can go not even just hatch first. You could maybe go double hatch if you're feeling really greedy.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. There's a good chance he might do that. The thing is, if he takes the gold right after that, which is probably what ideally he would like to do, he could get pressured by Zealots quicker than if he took the other third base. Say Alicia makes 2 Zealots and a Mothership Core, it could be dangerous. So right now, all that NesTea has seen is the gas timing. He should be able to know exactly what he's up against. He didn't even see the gateway, but he knows. He's hiding his drone. I think maybe he might try to get there at that natural base when there's a Nexus about to go down to try and block it a little bit. Is he gonna pull now? He's not sending out any extra drones to take bases, so he might go for a pull.
Could be some shenanigans. Okay, the drone, he moved one around. No, it's not. Is he?
He's teasing us.
Is he gonna? Oh, NesTea.
Oh, NesTea.
Oh, NesTea. This has been already an interesting start to this game, I feel, Todd. This is not your standard Zerg vs. Protoss opener.
Alicia seems to know. Alicia has scouted absolutely nothing so far this game, but he's still chrono boosting out 2 Zealots. I think upon being scouted by the drone, he's like, I know you, NesTea. I know that you love to hatch block or play greedy. In either case, if I chrono boost out 2 Zealots, say a Mothership Core right after, I'm not only going to be able to cancel a hatchery on my natural, I'm also going to be able to pressure you if you didn't do that. So Alicia getting double Zealots here is already very interesting. And I would like to see a Mothership Core being made with this. Oh, it's actually going to be supply blocked.
You know,
he didn't make the pylon on time.
I think, though, you make a really good point, because whether or not NesTea did this build where he puts this hatchery into Alicia's natural, if Alicia... If NesTea went for double hatch before pool back home, like we were talking about he could do, then this is still a strong opening either way, because he can do a lot. He can put on a lot of pressure, albeit across the map. But still, this kind of, I don't know. Did NesTea really get what he wanted out of that, you think?
Yeah, he delayed the Nexus a lot, and I really like the transition, or at least the follow-up that he went for here. Getting the quick speed. You see, he went for the gas and the pull instead of playing it super greedy, taking an additional base. He's playing it fairly standard behind this. Being able to have speed early on is going to help him defend any kind of super early on attacks, even, or in particular, those few Zealots that could come forward and really annoy him. And we see Alicia getting a sentry behind this after wonder and double additional gateway, but no second gas just yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets that very soon, and then most likely goes for a third base. I don't think he's going to do a 2 base very often here with the opener. Ooh, he has the 4th gateway. It's the Roddy gateway, man.
Oh, the Roddy gateway. I used to call this the Hearthstone special. He'd always tell me this is one of the strongest builds, this 2 base, 4 gateway attack.
The Roddy gateway, the Hearthstone special. Sounds like items on a menu at a restaurant.
I'd eat there.
Zergs. It's on the menu, man.
Zerg's on the menu. So these Zerglings are going across the map as the Zealot and the Mothership Core come in on the right side. There's no hatchery to be killed, and Alicia realizes, maybe I want to go home. There's just this sentry to defend. But I think, all you need is 1 force and you should be okay. Warp Gate's about to finish too.
NesTea getting a roach run this early. I wonder if he's that scared of those gateways. I mean, they aren't made all that early, or somehow he's able maybe to suspect that there could be a 4th gateway and a big pressure. So far, both players are reading each other beautifully. With the minimal amount of informations that they have, they are anticipating every single next move that their opponent could make. And see, 4 roaches already in production. I guess the overlord of NesTea must have seen the probe on the bottom right-hand side sneak by. So even though he hasn't seen the pylon, he knows what could be happening. And now he reaches the wall of Alicia. He sees only 1 Zealot, 1 sentry. He's like, wait a second. There are a lot of units missing that should be here right now.
Yeah, he's trying to put on enough pressure to break through this. I feel like some of these Zerglings should be useful back home, but he has a lot of Zerglings in production. He has more roaches coming out. And yeah, there's actually not enough to break this. The Zealot gets killed, and that pylon is still quite weak. No more force fields available at home for Alicia. Does he have to just recall? Can he break this?
I mean, he can just pull back. There is no roach speed. He cannot get chased down. If there was enough Zerglings, maybe, but then he would have a bunch of units to maybe trade. So right now, he doesn't have to recall. NesTea is going across the map with roaches. He's using the lack of information that Alicia has.
If he runs into this force of Alicia, that could get ugly.
Yeah, but he could maybe snipe the Stalkers and that one sentry. There is a few Lings in support as well. Lings are coming in from behind as well.
Oh, and he still has those Lings by the natural. So these roaches are going to hit the wall. And I think Alicia, you got to recall at this point, right? Snipes the sentry at the
There's
the
another
wall.
one.
There's the force field, but he should be able to at least kill this pylon. He's continuing to try to break through this. He does get that pylon this sentry. Another one warped in. The robotics facility is done. And
Ooh, Alicia is sending 4 Zealots to NesTea's base, and with the rest, he's coming back home. The Stalkers are going to be caught. He has to recall. The sentry is going to die anyway.
there are already Zerglings and roaches prepared, though, at the natural. NesTea has exactly what he needs to defend against this attack. And I think this is going pretty darn well for him so far.
What's
of course, he's still on
happening?
2 bases, but he's got his third on the way. His lair is coming in as well, and NesTea, he's doing it.
What's happening in this game? So much action already. Both players really trying to outdo each other from the very first minute of this game. Not wasting any time, not trying to macro at all. Just getting into each other's face as much as possible. Alicia was scared of an all-in here for a second, so he got double cannon. I wonder if he's going to cancel that. He's getting immortals now. We might see an immortal push. If he starts adding on gateways, he has the probe count already. He's cutting, he's still making actually 2 probes at the time, whereas NesTea is taking a 3rd base. NesTea's economy was very, very low for a long time. He needs to be careful not to get force fielded here.
Yeah, but you know, he presses the front, he sees those cannons too, so he knows there's been a defensive investment made by Alicia to attempt to defend this. And with the second immortal coming in, does he wait for this +1 attack, or does he just go once he has another immortal?
I think he's gonna wanna attack as soon as possible after he gets, say, maybe an observer plus a war prism. The Spire for NesTea, I feel like this is his trademark. This is his go-to style, one of the best style that he can play. I remember actually many epic games of him using Mutas very, very well, and right now I really feel like this is his favorite style. The thing is, if Alicia was to all in with, say, like a war prism and attack that 3rd base, I really don't see how NesTea will be able to hold and have Mutas on time to be able to counter-attack and do a lot of damage. So right now he's scouting the main, he's gonna see the additional gateways, he's placing units in a position on the left-hand side where he could counter-attack. The probe will be sniped, but there is a war prism. Does Alicia know about that base on the left? Well, he saw the creep. He saw the creep on the left-hand side base. So I think he should know that he's up there.
Yeah, this is still a bit tricky because he needs that pylon up close if he wants to attack that base, or at least have reinforcements quickly with it.
Alicia actually saw very little this game. If you look at his vision, he has one observer that sees the creep where there is the 3rd base, but that's it. It should be enough for him to know that he has to attack anyway. Ooh, those units on the top left-hand side are being revealed by Hallucinated Phoenix that flew just right above. He's gonna go for the catch.
Oh, these
You can't
roaches.
run.
They're stuck, man. This is
Sitting
this
ducks,
is painful.
man.
They were trying to hide in the jungle, and then these immortals came down. It's like, no, we've uncovered you. Can't hide in the swamps here. They're like trying to run off the map at this point, but they won't be spared. 2 immortals, way too much. So NesTea loses a bunch of units, but you know what? These roaches at bottom, it's a little bit of time. The Spire's done. He's got 11 Mutalisks on the way.
Ooh, he's
and
getting a
adding
lot
out
of
more
spines. He's getting a lot of spines at the natural. They are pretty well placed. He's gonna have to evacuate that 3rd base ASAP, and yes, he's gonna have the Muta count to really hurt Alicia's economy. And considering he's made 12 Mutas, we have right now 7 gateways. Even if you warp in, like, say, like 5 Stalkers, it's gonna be very difficult to deal with all of those Mutas because they're gonna splash them. They're gonna hit them hard. So, is there enough spines though for NesTea to be able to hold on at home? There is so much supply here for Alicia, who I think is gonna move forward and try and finish this game. 1 Queen has 1 transfuse, is getting close to a 2nd one. The other Queen has 1 transfuse as well. He might need the Mutas and Lynx in defense.
This will be a very difficult defense for NesTea. These spine crawlers really shouldn't be able to hold up all these immortals, but the Mutalisks are going for the counterplay. Stalkers being warped in at home. There are a few sentries. Those photon cannons suddenly becoming even more useful. The first line of spines has been destroyed. There's only a couple left. The ones in production aren't going to finish at this point. And NesTea, he's dropped significantly in supply. The defensive warpins with those force fields have been enough to clean up all of the Mutalisks on the map. And it looks like Alicia should be able to take this first game. There's nothing left at home to defend.
Yeah, there is still a Mothership Core with 200 energy. Remember, NesTea is losing units way faster than his opponent is with that wall. Alicia and those 2 cannons and the reinforcements was able to buy himself enough time that he could kill most of these units, especially the Mutas. They died so quickly. GG. And Alicia will win the first game here. Alicia got really fortunate because he didn't scout the Spire. He didn't scout the style of NesTea. he was going to go for the attack no matter what was happening from his opponent. So being able to hit that timing, I guess he was going to go for it anyway, but he got very fortunate. If there had been, say, like Hydralisks and lots of links, he would have lost this game very, very hard with his Immortal Push.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, you just look at the way that game panned out, though. Aside from that later game stage, it was so awkward at the beginning. He went for the hatchery first, the fast third hatchery to his opponent's natural expansion, and the way that Alicia opened up, I think, really set himself up nicely moving forward.
Yeah.
Because if that hatchery can finish, like, yeah, he delayed the expansion, but if that hatchery finishes, I'm sure you know, Todd, as a Protoss, that creep spreads, it takes a while to get rid of, and you're just sitting there like, man, I'd really like to expand right now. And the Zerg player's like, yeah, I've got gas and roaches on the way, so don't even bother trying to counterattack.
I guess if you think about it, it kind of makes sense to go for the attack that Alicia did, because he did slow down the third base of NesTea a lot. And what is a good follow-up to this kind of roach play? Like, he forced a lot of roaches. What can you go into? You can't really go into Hydras very well all that often here, because if the Protoss sees it with a hallucination, then he can just play an economic game. He can just make a bunch of probes, take 2 Colossus, take a third base, and then he's going to be fine. So going for the Spire also makes a lot of sense. But I'm really surprised that Alicia scouted as little as he did. Not even a single hallucination. He wanted to have more energies for the actual attack on his sentries.
Yeah, he's played a solid first game, and like I said, that the 2 Zealots for the Cybernetics core really set himself up nicely. But let's see what he can do in the second game, guys. As you can tell, we're loaded into King Staging Station for map number 2 in WCS Premier League round of 16. Our red Protoss player in the top left, representing Axiom Esports. He's up 1-0. It is Alicia. And his opponent, spawning in the southeast position. Can the creator of the universe bring this series back? It is NesTea.
Pylon down the ramp here for Alicia. This looks like a forge. After opening gateway in the first game, he might mix it up here. Maybe go for a cannon rush here and there. I mean, NesTea, again, he's known for really being a big fan of those hatchery first play. And on this map, if you can get into a good position behind the middle line, start throwing down cannons, pylons, and all that, it's always going to be good. Yeah, this is going to be a forge here, and he's going to try to maybe cannon his opponents. NesTea going for the drone scout. I really, really like this, to be honest. He's playing this very, very safe. He's not playing blind at all. Not just saying YOLO, I'm just going to make a hatch 15 and then see what's up. He's really being careful. And usually when he sees that forge here, I think he just goes pull first. Yeah, that's exactly what he does. He throws down the pull. Should follow this up with a hatchery. He's been in that scenario before. I think it was against Crank.
Such good analysis, Todd. We got a nice little tweet from someone giving a compliment on your analytical abilities, of course, your hashtag WCS. We haven't really seen a crazy number of roaches from NesTea so far, so trying to win the roach competition is going to be quite hard. But you make a good point. That drone scout has been actually really popular on this map. I've seen it even from players like Revival and Hyun lately. Violet 2 versus Protoss, is this like a common map where lots of players try to make these cannon rushes work?
Yeah, it's one of the better maps to do a cannon rush. Usually, if you want to know what map is good for a cannon rush, you look at how the minerals are laid out at the natural, how much space you have behind it. So for example, Heavy Rain was like the worst map ever for cannon rush. You had so much space behind the middle line that you couldn't wall them off very, very well. Then again, every once in a while, some guy like SOS shows up and basically he shows us that you can cannon rush almost anywhere, even down a ramp with like a bunch of pylons. So lots of possibilities with those cannon rushes. But yeah, usually it's really about those minerals around the natural. Alicia, I feel like he's maybe got a little bit of the better end of the deal here. Even though he didn't have to cannon rush or he didn't get the opportunity to, NesTea took or was forced to take a hatchery further away from his natural and main. So on this map, actually transferring Queen kind of gonna take like forever.
She has an epic journey ahead of her. She wants to walk all the way over there. I can't even, we have another tweet. I actually can't even read this guy's name. It's a bunch of like random numbers and letters. But he's cheering for Revival and Alicia, which is cool. So he's probably happy about Alicia with so far in this series. Cybernetics core is going to start up, and the Queen, actually, this probe, I'm wondering, you know, it's really nice, I think, as a Protoss player, if you can keep a probe out on the map versus a Zerg just for those later pylons, but the Overlord spread with this Zergling, he should be able to get an inkling of where this probe is. NesTea has not been able to pounce on it just yet.
Yeah, NesTea is delaying his gases, which is normal right now. he was, I think before when he was in that situation, he played it a little bit differently. One thing I picked up from watching all those games of NesTea versus Crank in their earlier encounter in the round 32 is that NesTea, when he's on 3 bases like this and he's droning up a lot, he likes to get spores kind of blind. And in this case, if he was to do that, I mean, even without seeing the Stargates, which is going to be hard to see because he's in a little bit of a funky position, it will play to his advantage. The thing is, if he finally realized that he was spending money for nothing most of the time, because in most of those games against Crank was playing with a quick robo. He was playing with Blink and +2. So there was no Stargate, no DTs, nothing to worry about. If NesTea was to not see that Stargate and skip the spores, he would be in lots of trouble, because I expect for this to be an Oracle. It was a very, very quick Stargate. Could be Phoenixes as well, especially since he's getting +1 now.
Yeah,
but I do think an Oracle's better.
Yeah, the other thing is +1 Phoenix attacks are so uncommon too that Oracles still have a lot of utility, and he actually cancels +1 so that he can afford the Oracle. So you're that's about as spot on as it gets. It's like, you know what? Oh wait, I want to go Oracle, so I can't afford +1 at this stage of the game. And Oracles can still get a lot done. There's still no Spore Crawler, and you know, on this map, the distance between both naturals by air is quite short. And NesTea actually has nothing that will see this Oracle before it reaches that natural mineral line. There's nothing in between this this chasm of space. So there's a lot of potential here.
It's funny how he was going to go for something and then all of a sudden he's like, well, this is better.
He's like, wait, Todd said I don't get +1 with fast Oracle.
And no Spore is ready. A Queen is out of position actually. Okay, 10 kills.
Could get, yeah. I think the 10 is the most I've seen in like Pro League, but he's running the drones away, so they won't be able. Like, he won't be able to kill them all, but they're still not mining, and that makes them, you know, it's still getting money back for this investment. He's actually going into the main base and getting some kills. As long as the Oracle stays alive, this has been pretty damn nice. 7 kills. That is worth it, I'd
he
say.
didn't chase very well. He could have actually gotten more, but the third base starts behind this, and NesTea saw it immediately. NesTea has 3 Overlords around Alicia's base, so he knows exactly everything that's up right now. I know, well, that Void Ray, I guess, is going to reveal the possible transition from Alicia, who starts the +1 air weapons. Is this going to be the 3 Stargate or 2 Stargate style into charge loss? Double Stargate being added on.
This is...
Oh my god.
This is going to be a lot of Void Rays,
I dare you
Todd.
to go Spire. That's what Alicia's saying right now.
We saw somebody do that recently, too.
And still win?
I think
No.
so. I can't remember.
Come on.
There was maybe.
Are you kidding me? You open +1 and 3 Stargates and you lose to Mutas? Not even I could go full Todd in this situation.
Well, the Roach Warren is spotted by this Oracle, and I think as a Protoss player building units that fly, since they are the natural predator of roaches, you got to be happy seeing that Roach Worm plop down. And still, even this Overlord, I almost want to call it a Viking because it's like a Viking running around hunting down these air units. It moves slow, but it kills them very fast, and you want to deny that vision. NesTea's getting Zergling speed. Is he going to get like Roach speed when his lair finishes? I feel like these Void Rays, once you get enough of them, like you can shut down big attacks pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, playing Roach Hydra pushes against this is usually a mistake because there is enough Zealots and Sentries to basically force field well, Guardian Shield, tank on the ground, and that the Void Rays will do everything. And
he starts the Spire.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? Just right below that Oracle? Do you think the Oracle thinks this could be a Spore? They kind of look the same. In the dark, especially in the fog of war.
If you play with all health bars on, and actually I can see Alicia's screen from here.
But if he wasn't looking,
it's weird.
If he wasn't looking and he looks now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure you're not supposed to look at the Oracle all the time. So say he wasn't looking and he looks now and he sees that thing, he might think this is a Spore.
Maybe it's tricky. Mothership cores with these Void Rays, so he can try to come in and target a few units down, and then if he gets caught, you know, if he's in a position where the Queens can get him, he can always recall out. Infestation Pit does start up, so even though we've kind of been talking about this, Zergling speed, Roach speed, he's not building Roaches, he's not building a ton of Zerglings beyond what he's already had, so this is just a small force that, honestly, for the most part, you can't really do damage with this. It's okay for defending, but in this instance, he hasn't really committed himself too far down any one tech path that he's in trouble. I'm really curious to see what comes out once the Spire's done, though.
I wonder how fast Alicia wants to take to Storm here. Usually you get Charge Lots, some Archons, some Templars, you get Storm ASAP, and he's still making a bunch of Void Rays, which is always going to be good, I guess, since one of the only very good counters that you could get is a lot of Mutas for mobility, but then you're against an opponent that already has 3 Stargates, he just makes Phoenixes and you're in trouble. So Charge starts immediately, he's not going to get the Templar Archive first like you will do against a Terran to try and rush that Storm. And behind this, a Robo and some additional Gateway. So I think Alicia wants to make sure he doesn't get asphyxiated by all that creep spread. You're always going to want to stay on top of that. And we should be seeing, I think, Templar and Storm as a follow-up. He could go for Colossus too, but with the way the Robo was made super late, I don't think so. And since he made Charge as well, it would make a lot more sense to go for Templars. NesTea, on the other hand, Mass Spores, a bunch of Queens, and now Mass Infestors. So it's really going to come down to the Templar usage against these Infestors.
Yeah, he knows there's a good number of Stargates on the map. So this Spire, it hasn't been used just yet, but as Pathogen Glance finishes, he starts enduring Locust. So we could see NesTea try to take this, and he says, okay, Air Protoss, their army is pretty difficult to beat. I can just play out the long game, play a slow, methodical, Swarm Host push with Spores. And honestly, for the way that NesTea likes to play, Swarm Hosts have been, kind of classically good on this map.
So many Spores in the main. And Ultralis Cavern is going to be thrown down here by NesTea, who's getting Enduring Locust. He's keeping all his options open right now, basically.
He's getting all the upgrades.
Oh my god, does he want to lose all of those rushes? He's going to go for a counter-attack. I think he saw that Alicia was out of position. He recalls at the natural, so that third base is going to take quite some damage before being able to reinforce. Alicia has a bunch of Zealots and 1 sentry across the map, ready to break down those debris and possibly get into the natural, and there's no units there.
Yeah, this is nice. Every probe that he can kill is going to help slow his opponent down, especially because this is a very expensive army composition. He put a lot of damage on it. He tried to focus the Nexus. I don't think he should be able to get this.
Yeah. And in the meantime, back at home, NesTea is sending a bunch of Infestors ready to fungal all of those Zealots. Man, Alicia is so good against Zerg. Last season, he beat Revival in the group stage. Then he did lose to Hyun in the semifinals. But I mean, it was Hyun. He was on fire. And,
yeah, I mean, Hyun won it all, right?
Yeah.
There's the fungal. So as you said, it basically opens the door, walks into a face full of fungal, and these Zealots should die without too much trouble. There's a lot of Queens here, too.
Yeah.
Just look at this setup.
Looks so scary.
14 Queens, 7 Infestors. Not your standard Zerg army composition. He has the Roachhorn, the Infestation Pit, the Ultralis Cavern, and the Spire. He's not really building any of those units except the Infestors and a few Roaches. Now he's building Mutas and Ultras at the same time.
What? It's so funny how Alicia was basically saying this game, I dare you to make Spire and Mutas. And then with the composition that NesTea has gone for, he's basically saying, I dare you to make more Void Rays, because with the amount of Spores, Queens, and Infestors that he has, he shouldn't have any trouble dealing with this army as long as he's back at home and on creep. If he goes forward and he doesn't have the creep and those Spores to really help him, it's going to be a different story. And I like the idea with that War Prism here by Alicia, but there was an Overlord that spotted it on the way, so he's going to send a Void Ray. The Infestors are nearby. That should be goodbye.
Yeah, this most of this army is on the left side. He was moving his army around the right side, Alicia, but did not choose to move forward or commit at all, which is nice, because these Roaches that are coming in for NesTea, they shouldn't do quite as much damage as they did before. I don't even think if they A-click that Nexus, you can kill them. And this probe reveals them as well. There's a lot of Void Rays. They'll kill Roaches quite fast.
I feel like Alicia was waiting to see what NesTea is going for, to go for a transition, being either Templar or Colossus. In this case, he's going for Colossus. He's getting a blink as well. Wow, those Roaches.
Oh, he sees the Mutas, too. The Mutas take a couple shots at those Void Rays.
Ooh, the natural of NesTea, actually, a few Zealots are going to harass.
Yeah, he's going over. He starts up a lot of Spine Crawlers, too. He's like, I do not want this position to be vulnerable any longer in the natural, but still cleans up a few drones. The Roaches in the top side of the map have all been destroyed, and
some of the creep here was cleaned by those few Zealots and an Observer. They're going to try to get a snipe on the hatch. He's trying to basically prevent NesTea to go up to 10 gases quickly. I feel like Alicia has delayed the force base a lot.
Yeah.
And he goes for it in the middle of the map. This is a little bit weird.
Yeah, Warp Prism comes in, big warp, and he actually targets the Spire as his Fleet Bacon's coming close to completing. He's getting on the Queen inside of the main base as well. And I mean, the rest of the Queens are coming over here, but NesTea, well, I guess he does have transfuses for days.
Yeah.
This Spire, it's not like its normal health is 850, it's more like 5,000 right now.
NesTea needs some static defense in the main to avoid having to come back. He's not transfusing the Spire, but he's going to survive. And I feel like this middle base is very risky. If NesTea decided to go into some Swarmhost, he would basically siege these from his own middle base. And actually, there is a single Swarmhost there at that middle base of NesTea. A single one.
One
Keeping it banner so far.
Hero Swarmhost.
Gentleman's agreement.
He's not ready to go full Stefano just yet.
Alicia really lacks Archons in his army, I feel. No matter what, you always need Archons. He has the Templar Archive already, so he should be looking to add those pretty soon here. He's going to take down those rocks.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to limit the amount of space that these forces could come into because those Colossi are so good at fighting these target units. And There is a Warp Prism prepared on the right side of the map, but NesTea's got static defense about to finish. There's a Dark Shrine on the way.
Oh, the Mutas are gonna find it.
Oh, you know, this is like you usually use Phoenix to hunt down things that are flying and sometimes Corruptors, but the Mutas, instead of being the harassing units, are just coming in here and delaying this.
Abandoned ship. The Zealots will go down and evacuate. This is a very scary attack here by NesTea. He has a lot of transfuse and a lot of fungals available. Alicia is gonna have to be very, very careful. Still, no Templars, no Archons for Alicia. He has a bunch of Phoenixes that shouldn't be able to do too much against such an heavy Queen Infestor army. And he's getting more upgrades. Very late +3 for Alicia, by the way, in this. Well, I guess considering the circumstances and that he went 3 Stargates, it's not that late, but maybe a double Forge would have been nice here. He's getting Warp Prism speed as well as one more Warp Prism. Kind of late upgrades here for NesTea as well, but I guess so much happened in this game that it was hard to stay on top of those things.
Yeah, this game is this setup is just, this is not what we would typically see, and it's kind of cool because NesTea has found his own way of dealing with this setup, but really needs to lock down those additional bases. The static defense has been nice, but even these Zealots, I love this. Every little maneuver these players make are just so nice.
If either of them goes for a huge attack and runs into a bad position, or at this point, if Alicia goes into the static defense of NesTea, they will lose the fight very, very hard. They won't be able to remake enough unit on time, and they will die. That's especially true for Alicia, because there's just so much static defense here by NesTea. Look at that middle base. It's just Spines and Spores and Crypt Tumors. And one Swarm Host.
Yeah, that one Swarm Host in the center base. A lot of static defense around. And the thing is, you make a really good
the Warp
point.
Prism.
Neither of these armies can actually engage each other in the open. The other Warp Prism on the right side is going to get spotted. Zealots are shut down into the natural once again. Yeah, man, Warp Prism speed. He does have that upgrade, right? Yeah, Gravitic Drive.
The Phoenixes, they might actually come for those Mutas.
Oh, DTs moving in on the left side. Going to try to target down this hatchery. Do not believe there's an Overseer close by. So that does make things a bit tricky. And yeah, that left side base, he should be able to pick this off. Oh, the Queens can transfuse now. Never mind. It's got a bajillion health. Oh,
or not.
He gets it. Or not. He kills I think he just killed like an Ultralisk in the main base too. These Dark Templar have actually been kind of nice so far.
Oh yeah, he killed the Ultra-Race Cavern, which was in a funky position actually. Never really should have been made there. Behind this, Alicia's moving forward. Does he have his Mothership Core? At this point, you really need to have it with your army in case you get in trouble. I mean, against this many Infestors and Fungal, can you imagine what was to happen if Alicia steps on creep and gets Fungal in a bad position? Those Ultras at the front never die, they tank forever. The Queens do damage and transfuse. The Infestors, Fungal.
Would you like to see Vipers in this stage of the game? Tempests are about to come out, and they outrange everything here.
Yeah, he's already maxed out, so it's difficult to add anything. Maybe he needs to lose some of those units, in particular the Queens and the Zerglings, and then replace them with Vipers. But we do have Templars finally and Storm being researched by Alicia, who's not on a 5th base just yet. But look at the upgrades. He got +3 air attack, he's getting +2 now. Plasma Shield level 1 is on the way as well. The thing is, NesTea, he's not in a rush this game. He's just gonna sit back, take more bases, make sure he doesn't take any damage here and there. The Phoenixes are flying across the map. We have Infestors moving in position. This was spotted.
Oh, a good Fungal catches a lot of these Phoenix.
Dear
and
Lord.
The Queen should be able to come up and clean all of this up. There's plenty of Fungals here to hold this Air Force in position. And, oh, I mean, this might almost loses an Infestor. Oh, the next pickup. Transfuse. Oh, well, he died. Okay, he's still going to kill the Phoenix. Say worth the trade for one Infestor.
Yeah, and units lost now. Alicia starting to take off a little bit. Again, this is a very important stat in split map situations. NesTea again, not in a rush. He's gonna press
Swarm Hosts.
Oh god.
He's building more.
He's got so much creep and so much vision and static defense that... Oh, he's moving the static defense. Look at this.
The Great Wall
the forest
of
is
NesTea. This is
They're
awesome.
alive.
The forest has uprooted itself. These Zealots on the right side are getting caught. You know, these Zerglings, shout out NesTea, getting adrenal glands, an oft overlooked upgrade, but it really helps when you clean up those Zealots that are trying to harass around the map. And we have +3 air weapons and a Mothership.
Double Spire for NesTea is going to be made here. And the Mothership, the thing is, when you go for a Mothership like this, you need Tempest to basically enjoy the cloaked position you're in and snipe units and spores from afar. But right now, having all of those Void Rays that never really did anything, it's kind of playing against Alicia. I mean, in the direct fight, he would already. The thing is, NesTea is never going to let a direct engagement happen. That's why he's going Swarmos. That's why he's got so much static defense. He might try to trade some of those units on the left-hand side for some important buildings, like that core. That's researching +3 air attack right
That's
now.
a really nice pickoff for NesTea moving forward here, as there's so many of these units are air units. He has to watch out. The Templar coming up too. All these Infestors and Queens are in direct threat of being feedback, but there's a large number of Archons on the right side that got shoved back, not able to participate in this fight, and he needs everything to take this army head-to-head.
But is going to be remade in the main of Alicia here, as +3 Zerg flyer attacks start for NesTea, who's... Look at that bank.
Dat bank.
He's the creator of the universe. Can you imagine what he can do with that bank?
I mean, probably create the universe again at this point. 4 more spines on the way. He is just building up this static defense force, and the creep spread works so well with this. And these swarm hosts, the best part about him is they will whittle him down eventually.
Ooh, on the top right hand side, an ultra is run by, I guess we could call that. He's gonna do a lot of damage, possibly snipe the Nexus, but the static defense of NesTea is starting to fall. He needs to fungal. Some of these infestors are not doing anything and getting sniped.
Yeah, the mothership, he is here to help as well, giving a bit of cloaking once these spore crawlers are gone. And the way that he's attacked this, he hasn't taken it head on. Only about, a couple of these spines can fight at a time, and he is breaking NesTea's defenses.
This is much better for Alicia to take out all the static defense, losing almost nothing. He's still kind of maxed out, 137 army supply against 142. That middle base is going to have to be evacuated. And how do you fight? Alicia is forcing the fight to happen.
And Dark Templar hunting down all of the Ultralisks back at Alicia's base for NesTea. He's just chopping them away. He's hacking and slashing, and I don't think there's too much that he can do at this point. He's bringing the Infestors back home. He does have Vipers out. He's getting out some Corruptors, but this Protoss army is so big, killing the Corruptors that are rallied over. 2 more Stargates on the way, getting his +3 shields. +3 flyer attacks not done yet for NesTea, and even with some abducts, even with the most sick fungals he's ever had in his entire life, this is going to take... Well, I guess 5,000 minerals and 9,000 gas.
It's going to take the creator of the universe to win this game, man. And you know what? He's going back with his Swarmos, just the Swarmos. He's going to counterattack with everything else. I think right now he realized that he cannot fight his opponent's army. When you can fight your opponent's army, what do? You don't fight it. You just counterattack, you try to base trade, you try to force a mistake. Remember, recall is available for Alicia. I think if he takes out this base and recall, he's just going to be in such a sick position. The middle base being attacked now. There is Overseers to help against the DTs finally, but the Swarmos being back at home, and all of those Queens, by the way, they are across the map. The recall happens. You can't run, Queens. You can't go anywhere.
Talk about a slow push. The Void Rays are moving on the right side. The Tempest able to get in quite a few shots. These Void Rays are actually in range, so maybe he can pick off something. He has a lot of transfuses available, and anything that he can kill at this point is really nice because there's not a crazy amount of gas available for Alicia to replenish this force. But NesTea, he's going for the Remax.
Oh
it's
my
44 Mutalisks. He actually realizes he's like, you know what, I actually have enough gas to make 80 Mutalisks, but I need some Overlords first.
All of the Phoenixes died earlier, so we have 3 Phoenixes, 5 Void Rays, 9 Stalkers, and 3 Tempests, as well as 5 Archons. This army is good in a direct fight, but if you base trade, I guess, you're gonna have a good shot here as NesTea. The thing is, Alicia has no intention to give him the time. I think he's... No, wait, he's pulling back. I thought he was gonna attack the natural, break it, and then go into the main. He might be afraid of some kind of Remax, but with this army, he has nothing to fear. He's getting Phoenixes now, though. He knows that this is probably happening. Oh my god. He's read this game so well.
47 Mutalisks with +3 attack on the map. Phoenix are on the way. He's building 4 at a time. He already has the Anion Pulse Crystals upgrade, so these Vipers are going to be big playmakers to trying to whittle down this Protoss army.
What do you think? He updated the Phoenixes?
I mean, I don't know.
One at a time.
You gotta start somewhere, man. Going for these photon cannons in the natural. I mean, denying the shield upgrade would actually be pretty nice. Only a few seconds away. Well, it'll finish, but he doesn't
NesTea's
have
bank
many
is
minerals.
crushed, man. He has absolutely no income right now. 400 income. The Phoenixes are going to go for it. He needs Infestors to fight this. He has 3 right now on the map.
Hey, he is trying to abduct those Phoenix, and it's almost kind of working. But
Alicia
Alicia
is
has so much
surrounding with
money.
his army. He's going around with his army trying to catch those units, but I think NesTea sees it with the creepy in the middle of the map.
These mutas are actually doing a reasonable job so far still, but there's so much left to fight.
Ooh, if he snipes the Stargates here, would be a big deal. There is still 2 alive, but they are not powered right now. He's going to have to evacuate now.
I don't know how NesTea does this. This game seems this is an incredibly difficult spot to be put in. He needs to win the game with these 40 Mutalisks that he has.
He's cornered. What is he doing? Where are you going? There's a lot of units here for Alicia. This is getting very scary for NesTea, who's not trading cost effectively anymore. He's losing all of Out of his Munas, he has no economy behind this. He has 14 drones.
And now these last couple Phoenixers whittling this down quite well. Only 2 remaining, but the problem is he can never indirectly engage Alicia anymore because there's still Archons with this army, and he has no way to get resources to spend his gas. Some Swarm hosts are going to start to walk out onto the map, but at this point, just a couple of Swarm hosts. It was never really a scary number anyway. Only 8 on the map.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough to overpower this whole ground force.
I mean, behind this, Alicia has such a bank. He's gonna restart his air weapons level 3, which he has forgot about when he had remade the 76 core. And his army just looks unstoppable. I mean, NesTea is trying to make something happen. He sends the Swarmos on the right hand side. Actually, those drones, oh my god, they are the only drones you got. He sends his drone next to this army. And I think Alicia, at this point, can just do the A move, the favorite moments of the Protoss players. The final A move has, honestly, there's nothing that can stop him. He's just got such a big army. He could just defend with only the Phoenixes, but hold on. Maybe those infestors can do something.
Oh!
Or
you
not.
know, every fungal brings him a little bit closer to, I guess it would have to be one hell of a miracle, but now the infestors are dead. It's just these Mutalisks, and it's only 19.
Yeah.
Only 19 Mutalisks to hold all of this off.
NesTea has barely enough money to restart a hatch now, possibly on the right-hand side. He has some static defense there, but I mean, with the numbers that Alicia has, static defense really doesn't mean anything much anymore.
Yeah, these Phoenix are doing a great job of whittling down this Mutalisk count. He's like, oh, okay, there's a couple of drones. There's a hatchery on the way, hatchery coming up on that right side, but this main army won't be stopped. The number of Archons in this force, I guess the Locusts are slowing him down, but
Swarmos
NesTea,
are trying to run away.
yeah, NesTea dropped to a fourth of his opponent's supply. Alicia's trying to hammer this one in. NesTea has been a tenacious opponent. He's held on quite strongly throughout this series, but Alicia just looks too powerful. GG. Our Protoss player will move on to the winner's match.
We're gonna have a rematch of last season's semifinals, which Hyun won 3-0. Alicia is gonna have another chance. He's gonna have another shot at Hyun. And you know what, NesTea, even though he lost 0-2 here, I was really happy with the way he tried things. He played some parts of the game very, very well, and in the end, just not quite good enough for his opponent Alicia. The Muta transition, man, it looks scary at first, but he just lost his bases so fast that he was just in a position where he just couldn't max out anymore, couldn't get enough infestors that he needed to really be able to fight against this mass Phoenix army that was being remade from Alicia, and in the end, yeah, just the army too much for Alicia.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, you say, hey, most of the time, if you can afford to make a switch into 44 Mutalisks at once, you're probably in a good position. This game, not quite the case, especially since he was running out of money and having to rebuild 10 Overlords. Like, that could have been 10 Mutalisks if he had his supply cap available.
Yeah, it was weird. At first, I thought that NesTea had the bank to remake anything that he wanted, but then he was forced into remaking some units, and especially losing his infestors the way he did in the middle of the map. You know, he was attacking only with the Ultras, and NesTea was probably picturing something like being able to do damage and not suffering too much damage at the same time. Alicia didn't see it that way. Alicia saw static defense being left alone by the rest of the Zerg army. He's like, I'm going in. That's it. That's my cue. There's not enough in of the map to stop me. And as soon as he took out the entire static defense, I knew that NesTea was going to be so far behind.
Yeah, it's what a tough series, but really great play. It was interesting to see the way that he was able to keep his creep spread out throughout most of the game as well, which was cool. And we also have to take into account both games actually started off in pretty weird situations. NesTea wasn't able to take his natural hatchery where he really wanted to put it. But as far as Alicia's play goes, do you think that this kind of 3-gateway Void Ray setup that he went for off of that, I wouldn't say fast third, but like reasonably timed third base, is this something that Protoss players are starting to do more often, or is it a build you would pick versus NesTea?
If you expect that your opponent likes to play Spire very often, it's a good thing that you can do. The thing is, there are hard counters to this style too, and NesTea didn't really scout much at all those targets. He saw it very, very late. I mean, he saw a Void Ray here and there, but then it could be a Void Ray into +2 and blink sometimes. So you have to know. And I guess when NesTea later on found out, I mean, he was already going for his own Spire and all that. He just, I'm not sure I agree with the own Spire that he got. He made a lot of static defense, and I really like that with the Queens and Infestors that he had, but Alicia played it well by not fighting early, by not fighting when the Infestors had just come out, and by not running into the static defense of his opponents when the army was there too and ready to fungal. He waited until Alicia until NesTea, made the first mistake by moving out, attacking the top right-hand side base. In which case he said, since you don't have enough static defense, I'm just gonna kill it. You don't have your army with your static defense. I'm just gonna take it out, and then from there you can just steamroll every single time. I mean, after he took out that static defense in the middle of the map, I don't even think he particularly had to pull back, and he pulled back. He could have just literally like a move in natural, make sure he stormed enough, and he would have won, I think.
Yeah, really nice to be able to take that fight, as you said, against the static defense, not the army. But, let's hear a couple words from our other resident Protoss player. We've got Rotterdam over at the Red Bull Bar. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank you very much, guys. And indeed, it will be a couple of words because I think you just broke down the entire game, so I'm completely unnecessary. Either way, let's just take a look at a couple of the final moments of that last game because I thought it was cool. And of course, I agree with most of what you said. Actually, pretty much everything, but it's still fun to go over it. So let's just go ahead and jump into the game. And we can go over a couple of the moments because I do really love how Alicia played this. He seemed so prepared for everything. This is, of course, where things went from bad to worse for NesTea. He already dropped quite a bit of supply, wanted to go into a base trade. Well, didn't even have an overseer, so this slowed him down even further. From this point on, we can fast forward, and Alicia just realized, like, hey, this army that I have, that's a pretty unstoppable army. What is the only thing I can lose to? Well, I have a lot of money, so my opponent probably has a lot of money, and he's probably going to try to switch into a crazy amount of Mutalisks. So look at that. Even now, when he barely has any free supply, he starts building Phoenixes. He drops 2 more Stargates, and of course, Muta switches are scary, but if you have a reasonable number of Phoenixes to work with when it starts, let's say 10, 12, from that point on, you can just make more and more of them, and making Phoenixes out of 4 Stargates goes pretty quickly. So we can fast forward for a little bit, as we can just see that Alicia is taking out as many bases as possible. I love the recall as well. There's no need for him to take more economic damage than he already did by not being able to get a 5th base. Recall is obviously good. He's going to get all the Ultras, he's going to get all the Queens, he's going to get all the Infestors. But he's also freeing up some army supply, and he's just getting more and more anti-air. Of course, he's not 100% sure yet that it is Mutalisk, but as you can see, he still had Mutas on the production tab, and as soon as he sees them, well, if we fast forward a minute or so from this point on, even now we see 3 Phoenixes, 4 Phoenixes, +1 or +2, +3 even air weapons on the production tab. He's just like, alright, well, you're probably going to go to Mutas, right? I'll have plenty of Mutas. Soon the Mutas will show up in the main base, but if you have this number of Phoenixes, you'll be fine. The abducts are cute, but that's not going to cut it. So this is pretty much all. From this point on, NesTea is broke as a joke, as they like to say, and it's just not really able to produce a whole lot of Mutas anymore. Really smart by Alicia. He was ahead of the situation. He knew pretty much the only thing now that I can die to is a lot of Mutalisks, so he wanted to make sure that he didn't die. I enjoyed that game. Hopefully you guys did as well. We're going to head over to a very small break, and after that we'll be back with our lower bracket match between Revival and NesTea, so stay tuned and we'll be right back.